Hey, what's up, guys? Houston here. For you guys that felt that me explaining to you the main three accounts that you should have with Navy Federal, regardless of the credit score, to help you get $25,000 credit cards, because the video I made, I was on a field trip looking at fish and stuff like that and learning some things or whatever. Here's what I was saying, all right? Those three accounts, all right? First, joining Navy Federal, all right? And again, people think it's still a big secret. There's no secret that if you stay at an address with somebody that's a member of Navy Federal and you share that address, Navy Federal will allow you to join because you're at that same address, all right? So that's what makes it so easy to join. They're trying to make it very easy for people to join, all right? So that's number one. Number two, understanding this, is that when you join, no matter the credit score, okay, there's three accounts that you should have, all right? The first one is having direct deposit, okay? Having direct deposit means so much to Navy Federal because it's showing that you're actually trying to build a real relationship with them. So in terms of those that work a job, okay, if you work a W-2 job and you already have direct deposit with one institution, your HR can split up your direct deposit. Now, for those of you that are in the gig economy, as I was saying, that you can set up direct deposit as well, all right? As a matter of fact, that's the reason I told you guys, for those of you that qualify, we actually give you 4 months of free payroll and pay stubs when you qualify on our website. Now, you have to be a registered business in order for this to happen. So for you guys that are in the gig economy, then you need to have a registered business. And I'll tell you another thing, what makes it's so important for you to have this here registered business. Because even when you go with Navy Federal, say that you open up your business bank account with Navy Federal, having a registered business really counts, because they want to know on the application, it said what's the NAICS code, right? So by it saying what's the NAICS code, you need to tell them what would be the best type of business to be able to get the funding. All right. So that's the reason why I was trying to explain that, because you need 2 scores when it comes to the business aspect of Navy Federal. That's your internal score that goes from 100 up to 450, and then your credit score, minimum credit score at least a 660. You don't have to have any revenue in the business, but those are the 2 scores that you need for the business side. Now, understanding that the payroll is important. The second account I would tell you again is when I was explaining about the pledge loan, okay? Now, why the pledge loan? The reason the pledge loan is, one, it's a primary trade line, all right? That's number one, that helps increase your credit score. And how it does that is that when you add a pledge loan onto the credit file, especially if all you have is revolving accounts, okay? If you're rebuilding your credit and all you have is revolving accounts, you're missing out on about 40 points, okay? And so what ends up happening, so you can have a clear understanding, let's just say you had 5 revolving accounts, meaning credit cards, right? And then you also had a car loan or a loan that you was paying on, an existing installment loan you was paying on. Well, when you pay that loan off, okay, and it picks up in the FICO system, is no longer calculating that. It's only calculating the revolving. So that's what makes your credit score drop about 40 points, okay? So that's the reason why, especially with Navy Federal, not only does it help the credit score, but it also helps the internal score. So when you say you open up a pledge loan and you have $1,000 and you put that $1,000, and you pay down 80% of that $1,000, right? Once that trade line reports on the personal credit, you're going to notice your credit score jump up. All right. So that's the reason why people do it, because it increases the credit score as well. And then the remaining balance is why they tell you don't pay the remaining balance off in 12 months, make it 2 years or longer. All right. So that's the reason why they tell you to do that. Now, that's the second one. All right. The third one is having that starter certificate. Okay. So Navy Federal has this starter certificate. And so with the starter certificate, what that is like a CD. Okay. However, the minimum all you need is $50. Now, I tell you that the CDs, the money market accounts, those type of accounts are the most important accounts you can have with Navy Federal. All right. The reason is because it actually shows commitment, long-term commitment. This is why a lot of people with the 580 credit score, they get the $25,000 credit cards, because they're showing a long-term commitment. Remember, I told you, you can have an 800 credit score with a Navy Federal, and they'll still deny you a personal loan as well as a credit card. And the reason they do that, they may do it because, one, you may have too high of a DTI, debt to income ratio. But number two is that you're, got distracted like the pool guy. Yeah, that's the pool guy. That being said, that the, man, I apologize, is that in reference to having that CD, okay? In reference to having that CD, okay, showing the longevity, then this is what Navy Federal looks out for, okay? What's the deposits? What other type of primary trade lines you have on. Now, again, like I said, that does not dismiss you not having a checking account, preferably a flagship checking account, because I told you that if you don't have the flagship checking account, you should have at least 20 transactions going through your regular checking account that makes up for the flagship checking account, and also having a savings account. But your three primary accounts, in order to get a $25,000 account with Navy Federal, is usually, again, your direct deposit, the pledge loan, and a CD or money market account. All right. And like I said, the starter certificate is the one that's the cheapest for $5. Now, also, let me answer this question, because I know somebody said, how many pledge loans? You only need one pledge loan. OK, so I hope that clears it up. You only need one. You don't have to put thousands of dollars on it. It's not necessary. And remember, the pledge loan is only going to help you with your internal score for credit cards. It does not help with personal loans. Okay, so if that's your intention, then it doesn't help with that. All right, so I hope this video clears up what I was saying in the other video. And if you have any other questions about business credit funding, personal credit funding, removing negative items off the credit, click the link in the description. Schedule one-on-one consultation. Thank you.